one. All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Coleman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me. We have Shane Bird, all the way from Mississippi. Okay, bring him on to talk about his weight loss journey so far, because what he's actually done is lost a total of 112 pounds, which is, I suppose, a major transformation in itself. So I suppose, Shane, introduce yourself to the listeners and tell them, I suppose, a little bit about your background, and we'll get into, I suppose, how you got from where you were to where you are right now.
I'm Shane Bird. I'm from Mississippi. Where I got from is what actually happened is I went to the doctor and he basically said, do I want to live to be 50 years old? And I was like, it was like a major shock to me because I was had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I was a pre-diabetic, and I was drinking alcohol like every weekend. It'd be like 1 or 2 cases a weekend. So I decided, that in turn made me want to do a lifestyle change. I didn't know where I was going to get to where I am today. And I just thought maybe I'd lose 20 or 30 pounds, and then in turn, maybe get off the medicine, because, medicine in general it's just basically looks like a Band-Aid to me. Just to, you take this medicine, it lowers your cholesterol, lowers your blood pressure, or, keeps you from being, total diabetic. I just didn't want to have to take injections and stuff like that. And that's where it just in turn made me where I wanted to do a lifestyle change. And then I seen, a couple of your videos, and I was like, man, this guy here, he's got some good content out there. He's just putting some stuff out there that I had never seen. I had never seen it. A lot of it still was just the content I've seen before on different people was just maybe like fad diets or whatever. But you do stuff in a healthy way, to where it benefits you, and it's medicine. The food that you do and the stuff that you preach is medicine. And so I decided that's why I wanted to do everything. So
that's brilliant. And you're touching on that point. The food is medicine, and getting more people to, I suppose, to realize that exact point. And the foods you eat have a direct result in the way you look, you feel, how much energy levels you have. And to firstly say congrats on so far. And the whole idea of it is fitness is a journey, and that's what you're on right now. What was, I suppose, your past diet like, Shane? I'd love you to expand on what was your past diet, what were you previously eating? I know you were, suppose, drinking each weekend, but alcohol is definitely one of the first things I recommend. I'd have an odd pint myself, maybe not Guinness as an Irishman, but I drink on an occasion. But the thing is, it's not the majority of the time, and that's what you have to do. You can factor those things in, most certainly, but it's definitely something that I would recommend taking out first out of your diet. Because a lot of people say, oh, Coleman, should I do maybe keto, or should I do paleo or vegan or vegetarian, or all those things? And I'm sure people have asked you even in the past year or so, what are you doing?
Well, what I was eating and drinking was processed foods like McDonald's, or I'd go get like donuts. I'd get up and get donuts in the morning, and then I'd freaking go have a cookie or something at the mall. And then for dinner, I'd have some more processed food, something that's just quick and available and easy, not looking at labels, not really caring about nutrition, not moving. That's one thing. I would just sit on the couch and watch TV all day, and or play video games or whatever, and I just had to start getting where I had to start moving, and I just got tired of it. It had to be a total lifestyle change, because that food there is just not. It's got too many of the bad oils that either cause inflammation and stuff in your body. And now I can actually walk a lot better than I ever have been, because my knees don't hurt as bad, my joints don't hurt as bad. I could just move totally better. Over 100 pounds gone. It's just I can move around a lot better.
much freer. And I suppose I'd love, Shane, to expand on the likes of the training that you were doing. Was it anything that was unsustainable that you couldn't possibly do, or even just touch on what exercises you were doing as a result of the weight loss that you have lost?
All I do basically, I just do at home workouts. I do it with weights. I do it with weights. All I got right now is a 50 pound. I mean, not 50, but a 15 pound weight is all I've got right now. I'm going to upgrade later on. The weights are expensive, but I mean, you can get what you can. If you can find them used or from a buddy or whatever, just incorporate some kind of weights into it. I started out, I just did body weight at first, and without doing my steps. Then you started talking about doing your 10,000 steps a day. I was like, because I was only doing like 3,000 or 4,000 steps a day. I just went back and looked on my, I looked on my phone. I was seeing how many steps I was doing. I went to 3,000 or 4,000 a day, and I was like, well, maybe if I up my steps, because you talked about it like being, getting 10,000 steps a day is anywhere from 300 to 500 calories, So I was like, well, if I start doing that, that could help me get my calorie deficit. So I decided, well, I'll just start doing 10,000 steps a day, regardless of what I got to do to get it. Whether if I get them before 2 o'clock or if I got to get them 8 o'clock at night after work, if I have to get on a treadmill or whatever. But I try to get them during the day, trying to get some grounding in, get some sunlight in. I try to do that every day.
Good man. And that's exactly what I was just going to go on towards next. Like, what are the healthy habits that you have, I suppose, picked up along the way? Then you touched on one of them, grounding and sunlight. I'm a massive believer in that. That reduces inflammation. Any of the retreats that I'm doing that are coming up, and also, Shane, you've got to come over to Ireland. We'll hook you up with, I suppose, the best of the retreats on the good stuff. When you do come over to Ireland, grounding, sunlight. Okay, a lot of people are afraid of, I suppose, firstly, the sun. The sun is massively important in your day, in your lifestyle. Why? Because it is, I suppose, something that makes food. It's energy. And once you get sunlight on your skin, which I highly recommend, first thing in the morning, close to the sunrise, the better, because it's at its furthest away point from yourself. The point is that once you get it on your face and your eyes are the gateway to your brain, literally waking yourself up without this massive coffee hit. I don't drink coffee. I prefer myself, either parsley tea is a winner because antioxidants in it too. But I want you to tell me, how often do you do it, or did you ever previously hear of grounding before I mentioned it to you?
No, I never did hear about grounding until you mentioned it. I never heard about maca tea or cacao powder or put pink Himalayan salt in your drink. Like that's one drink I drink every morning. I do that every morning. The only difference is on mine, I put just a tiny bit of cinnamon in mine. But you said cinnamon's good to put in certain things, so I figured I could, just douse a little bit of it in there, and I put a little bit of cinnamon in mine. But I'm going to try the parsley tea. I definitely want to start trying to find some of that and get some of that incorporated into my morning routine.
And if you have a pot, I'm going to tell you, this is the easiest thing ever. Parsley is one of those things you literally sow a couple of seeds and you'll have it for weeks and months, because there's very few pests that eat it. It literally keeps on producing side shoots. You take the outer ones, leave it grow from the center, and you have unlimited. If you had 3 pots, you'd have enough parsley tea and some for your lunches, Saturday type lunches, with your main meal then as well. It's such an easy one. It's one of the top 5 antioxidant herbs that you can add to your diet, and I love the flavor.
Yeah, it seems like it would be good. And another one I added that you talked about is kombucha, which the American kombucha, we talked about it before. It's just got so much sugar in it. You kind of gotta shop around and kind of look, because a lot of ones in like America has got it's like 30, 40 grams of sugar in it. So you kind of got to get something that's either, you got to be careful with some of the zero sugar stuff, but I try to get the one with there's some I'm buying that's got like 40% less sugar, and that's usually the one I've been getting.
Improving your gut health is massive, and people on the program, that's exactly what happens. Why? Because you're eating more whole foods, which are prebiotics, and those prebiotics feed your beneficial gut bacteria in your stomach. That makes you inevitably happier, increases your energy levels, and inevitably you can tell the listeners what was your energy like previous to eating the likes of that processed food, whether it was McDonald's, it was donuts, it was things on the go, things that were handy, as opposed to now which you're switching up your diet. And even tell me what you had and what you've done this morning. You just mentioned it before we get on. What have you done this morning? A healthy habit, which is brilliant. Done and dusted. It's off your to-do list, today being Saturday.
Well, I've got a list that I wrote down every morning. One of my things that I always say is, if you never take the first step, you'll never get finished. So that's what I do every morning. Is I go in there and I go do my morning workouts. Whether it be, I do a minimum of 20 minutes all the way up to, like you said before, 20 to 45 minutes, and don't go anywhere past that. And then I do a finisher. I do like a cardio finisher for, I do mine for between a minute to 5 minutes usually. It's usually how I do it. My energy levels really skyrocketed. I can get a lot of work done. It's improved my work, like on my job. But previously I would be real sluggish. I wouldn't really want to, perform real well. I wouldn't want to put out. I was kind of just wanting to lay around and be lazy. Anytime I would eat that food, it would feel good going in, but whenever you get it into your gut and it start digesting, you would feel, blah. You wouldn't feel very good. But now that the foods that I eat, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like some of the taste at first, but your palate changes because you was used to the processed food going in. Oh, it tastes good. Oh, yes, this tastes good. But once you get the good food going in and it starts tasting, you start, well, this is actually good for me, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. So it's actually more or less worth the benefit to me. You know what I'm saying?
And you're reaping the rewards, Shane. You're massively reaping the rewards. And it's, I suppose, the likes of your lifestyle, as well as your foods and the training, the grounding, the getting in 10,000 steps, the sunlight exposure in the likes of the morning and the evening, improving the likes of your sleep. Because these are the things that people, I suppose, have latched touch with. We previously have people that I've mentored or coached or passed on the knowledge of myself. We wake up in a bed that's warm, it's cozy. We hop into the likes of the kitchen. We turn on the likes of the kettle. We have a coffee. We go into the likes of the car. We go to work. We sit inside all day, sitting at a laptop. And as a result of that, then come back home to a cozy, heated house, and then I suppose rinse, repeat, sit down, watch television, eat foods highly processed on the go, causing inflammation, causing, I suppose, excess weight gain for people, and then they can't understand how, I suppose, they could do these simple life practices. And this is one of the main reasons why I brought you on, just to tell the people how, I suppose, and I just want you also to mention the struggles. Like, tell people it wasn't easy, but it is doable.
It wasn't easy. Just like I mentioned before, like you're not like the first, maybe you're not, oh, I don't want to eat that. Well, you need to do what benefits you. Eating the processed foods all the time, the stuff that you don't know where it's coming from or how they refined it may be from 300 miles away. You want to, like nowadays, I try to get stuff that's local, fresh. I get local honey. I've got a guy that gets me I still eat chicken, but it's grass fed chicken. I know what his place looks like, where the chickens are stay where they're staying at, what everything looks like, what the land looks like. He talks about non hormones, and he uses non-GMO food. Form and everything like that. And he's not necessarily on organic, but he doesn't have a bunch of all these chemicals and stuff in it. So if you wanted some beef or chicken, he's got it. So I buy it from him. I keep it local. You can keep it local and keep it organic.
That is exactly, like, for you to say those words to me, it's literally like if I was to hand you over money and say, Shane, what you could say? You could say local, you could say fresh, you could say I'm going and sourcing food, going back to connecting with the farmer. And as a result of that, then you're reduced miles, what's in the food, and you're getting, I suppose, you're supporting somebody. And that's key right now. People have lost touch completely where food comes from. And then they're eating something they end up under eating, which then leads to overeating of highly processed foods. Why? Because people make money, a huge amount of money, off highly processed foods, and it's really important. Yeah, that's the winner. People make money off processed foods, and then sick people you also make money off. And doctors will tell you, take this supplement, take this medication, and then again, that's the band-aid that ends up being taken off, and it's not going to the root cause of your illness or that you're currently suffering with, which is crazy.
You're absolutely right. And what I've noticed about everything, some of the stuff being local, is actually cheaper than some of the markets you go to buy your meat and stuff.
There we go. So you're actually saving money. You're getting better quality food. You're supporting someone local, and you're getting it, I suppose, from a reputable source. This is the key thing for, I suppose, long term. And I want to ask you, Shane, I suppose, that now that you have, I suppose, lost a significant amount of weight, what is your fitness goal now? Because whether I have people on the program, it's key that they know and have, I suppose, a drive towards something else. So if you don't have one right now, you can either tell me what you may have one, or getting clear on what you want is what I want people to do going forward. Because each year, a lot of people talk about January, I suppose, being the new year, new you. February is even more important. Why? Because the days are getting longer. It's much easier for people to get up when it's a little bit brighter, and as a result of that, the days are longer. Again, the other side of it, you can get outside for longer, depending on if they're on work or wherever they're based. For inside, they can get their steps in throughout the day and throughout the evening. So what is your goals going forward for the likes of February 2022?
That's funny how you mentioned about February, because it's been about an exact year since I went to that doctor, and he told me this, what I talked to you about it earlier. What my goal is to continue on is I want to maintain where I'm at now, because I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to where I was, but I also want to pick up a little bit of muscle, and I actually want to get a six pack if I can. I've never had one. I've always wanted to get one. That's a goal of mine.
Good.
But yeah, the main thing is I just want to maintain my weight, maintain my health, because I don't want to have to depend on medicine. I want to be able to live longer and healthier.
And that's a brilliant thing to have, Shane, I suppose. And if you had a message to pass on to someone who's in a situation where they've low energy levels, they've poor sleep, and they would love to, I suppose, have lost even any amount of weight, and remind a significant amount of 112 pounds that you have lost, what would your message to them be? To start, how to start, what to do, foods to eat, or where to go, or what to listen to?
Well, like I mentioned before, the only way to get started is to take that first step. Like if you never start, you'll never finish. That's what I always say every morning.
That's brilliant. It's such a simple message as a result of that as well. I would be a firm believer in, I suppose, affirmations as well. There are things that I currently do. I have a journal that I write down things that I want to happen in the future. I'm a major believer in goals boards as well, because things happen twice in a life. They happen once in your mind, and secondly, once in reality. And writing that down gets the message from up here down to a piece of paper and then back up into your eyes again. It's the full circle. And when I suppose started that first, I suppose about 4 years ago, it really has helped me to, I suppose, be where and get where I am here today, helping people all over the world consume foods and do more things that benefit them from the moment they get up to the moment, I suppose, they get back into the bed again. And healthy habits build healthy lifestyle. And that's what, I suppose, my message for exactly what you're after doing. You're after changing up your life. You've changed up your habits for the better. And people that see you now, friends, family members, people on social media, they are literally looking, and you're their role model. And that's worth any money.
That's right. I love it, man.
Yeah, no, and I would, Shane, I just want to reiterate the fact that I want you to keep going. Don't stop now, because this isn't the end. And you know yourself that you have goals and aspirations that you want to move forward with, and to keep going and keep pushing yourself using what you have. And that's all you need. A set of dumbbells. You need a minimum of 20 minutes. You need to make sure you're eating more whole foods. You need to have balanced meals, have the likes of, I suppose, those high antioxidant foods that you're eating, and incorporating in ground and incorporating in exercise into your day. A lot of people say they don't have time, I suppose, to exercise, but the thing is, we're not making any more time. You need to make time for health and fitness in your day. And just as you're doing, you're making a priority, because what you make priority gets done. You're doing it first thing in the morning. No one can take it away from you. You're on to a winner then. All you have to do then is focusing on the foods, which is which we say is the easiest part, because you can control that. Eating more single ingredient foods, because that's exactly what the body runs off, whole foods. And when you're getting them local, that's optimum nutrition for yourself. Again, all the time looking for the best bang for your buck. You're saving money, as you said yourself. And these things are the key principles of any fitness goal: improved health, increased energy levels, weight loss, muscle tone. All these things people are looking for and striving for. It's about being healthier long term, and that's what happens when you eat food that is medicine.
That's awesome message, man. I love it.
You're on a winner. Right, I suppose we will end this, week's podcast with Shane Bird, an absolute cracker of a man, an absolute pleasure of a guest to have on the Organic Fitness podcast. So, as I always end these shows in saying, things that are coming up in the future are that retreat on the 4th of March. If you want to book in for that, most certainly do. Also, the likes of Shine's Tuna, which I am now ambassador for 2022. Power 25. I'm buzzing about that. It's unreal. Fish, also high in omega-3. Reduced inflammation in the body. Get that into you. And if not, most certainly other foods are also high in omega-3, such as organic produce have a higher omega-3 than conventional, with less toxins as well in and on that. Other than that, I suppose, Shane, I always end these podcasts, as you know, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.
Okay. Get on that.